We go. Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to have Dave back. So, Dave, welcome back, dude.
Hey, good to see you again. I'm happy to be back on.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, can you please let everyone know again what your full type is?
Yeah, it's MFTISE, consume, play, sleep, blast, probably a 4.
Gotcha, and you're like an ISTP,
I'm an ISTP, correct. Yeah.
right? So, yeah, Dave and Chan, you guys are like said you guys are the best type, right? So,
Man, are we though?
I think for certain things, you guys are the best.
We put on a good show, but
Yeah,
if you knew what was really going on, maybe you wouldn't think so.
maybe not behind the scenes, but on the front end.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, anyways, dude, so I don't remember the last time we had our initial interview. It must have been like a long time ago, 3 or 4 years ago or
It
something like
was
that.
2019, I think. I was in my old apartment. So I think it was like 4 years ago.
4 years ago, right? So it's been a
Yeah.
while since I last spoke with you. And what has your journey been like using your NF Blast last since then? Because that's like the major thing, right? With OPS is using your last animal. So what's your journey been like with that?
Yeah, well, there's been a couple things. I think where it gets the most difficult, I think, is using your blast when you have people issues and then actually telling people about your issue or resolving an issue they might have with you. So that's been yeah, like I guess the main focus. So just getting better with the trigger on that and not procrastinating so much. So I was in a relationship for a while, and so we definitely had to blast a lot for that. So it gave me a lot of practice. It was super painful, but I can feel that now. I mean, it's still hard, but like it doesn't take me as much energy to be like saying something in the F realm, especially if it's like conflict related. Yeah.
Right. And for relationships, especially kind of like what you said with the blast, I do notice with the blast last individuals is that there's going to be a problem between you and your partner, but you don't speak up about it. And
Right.
because you speak up about it, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And by the time you do speak
Facts.
about it, it explodes, right? So
Yeah.
it's almost better to like have it when it's small bits, even if it's negative, because it's the difference between a pinch versus someone like kicking you in the nuts, essentially, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
so what's your experience been like knowing that like not letting things blow up and just addressing it right away when it's still small verbally, obviously, because it's blast.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you're right. It definitely blows up on you a lot. And even things that like you wouldn't I think are a big deal and you just don't blast about it. And then like months later, like, why didn't you tell me this a long time ago? It's like, well, I don't know, I was doing something and I don't know, I didn't do it. So yeah, what that experience has been like, yeah, man, like it gives me just a lot of anxiety. Like just especially stuff that you know is going to hurt or it's going to bother someone that's going to affect them emotionally in a negative way. It's really difficult. So yeah, for me, it's I think my brain's starting to finally figure out that like it's better to do it now than later. And I think because there just doesn't feel like there's as much resistance to doing it now, where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna pick up the phone, I'm just gonna tell them, hey, by the way, I have to miss your birthday or something like that. Okay, that's a small trivial example. But the more you do it, the better you get at it and the less pushback you have against yourself. And if you can get to a point where you actually want to do it because you know it's better and you know the relief that's going to come and you don't believe kind of the lie of like it's going to crush them, they're going to hate you, all this stuff, you know what I mean? So yeah, but yeah, easier to do it when it's small and it's little and to just practice, and then eventually it's like, this isn't that bad. But like with anything, practice makes perfect, or practice makes easier at least.
There's a few things about what you said that I want to kind of pull apart. The first one is the feeling of relief. From what I know when it comes to relationships with other people and not speaking up about something that is bothering you about the relationship, when you keep it in, even if you keep up the song and dance, looking friendly and like there's no problem at all,
Yeah.
there's gonna be passive aggressive behavior that's going to leak out, or shifty behavior that's going to leak out when you do hold that in. So it's almost like good to release it as fast as possible, just to keep things like a real interaction as opposed to like a fake interaction. And yeah, what are your thoughts on that when it comes to holding it in, you know?
Yeah, totally. Because it like just leads to resentment, right? And then like one day you just kind of blow up on someone. Like, so I'll give you a story. It's not really a story, but or it is kind of a story. Anyway, so like I had some issues with my dad, and my dad would, I don't live near him, so we're just phone calls, and the phone calls are super long, like 2 hours. And a lot of it's just about like Trump and conspiracies and some like racist stuff. And it just gets to be too much. And I've just, I knowing my dad, he won't hear me and I can't blast to him. And so I'm just getting more and more angry at him. And one day we're at a Mexican food restaurant, and I've had way too many margaritas at that point. And I just unloaded years of just keeping that in for so long. And he was just, what the hell? Like, oh, why didn't you tell me? Just like, man. And we had such a big fight. We didn't talk for like a year and a half after that. So that's like the perils of blast last, especially if it's like FEs in there. Yeah. Anyway, did I answer your question? What was the original question? I don't remember. What on story
Yeah, no,
mode.
no, you did. You did.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a joke and say, well,
Go
that's a
ahead.
secret to fixing a lot of problems with alcohol. You know, just get hammered in front of the person
Yeah.
that you have a problem with, especially with FE, and it's gonna come
Mhm.
out. And
I fixed so many problems with alcohol. I'm not gonna lie. I've just, you need help blasting? Just have a shot. Then you can do it.
you can't blame
It's funny because I have a friend that I think she's probably like SEFE or something. And she loves getting me drunk just because she feels like then you actually talk, and I feel like you say all the stuff you've been meaning to say for a long time. So
Right.
she's always like pushing drinks on me so that I'll like blast for her. Actually, definitely comes out when you've had something to drink.
You can't blame the alcohol when it's doing you good. But anyways,
Yeah, right. I can't, yeah, it's helped me. It's hurt me a lot too, but it's also helped sometimes. Not
it's
totally
more
bad.
pros than cons and whatever. You know, screw your kidneys.
Yeah, there might be more cons than
Problems.
pros, actually. I don't know. A lot
Um,
of fun stories, at least.
so I do want to ask you something about those pent up emotions. You have
Mhm.
FE, dude. How do you know what you're feeling? Because you a lot of times you probably don't. Like you know something's off, but you don't know what it is, you know? So like how do you blast at someone if you don't even know what that emotion is? You know what I mean?
I think you do know what you're feeling. I think it's more that you're not doing something with it and it just gets pushed into the background. But you definitely notice it and it pops up. You'll notice the state, or at least I do. I don't know if that's just something that for me or whatever. I've been, I don't know, meditating since 2011 or something. So I feel like maybe I'm able to check in a bit more than most ISTPs, but I don't know that for sure. So for me, I do know what I'm feeling, but I'm usually just I'm not handling, I'm not doing anything with it, which is kind of sitting there. And so then it festers, it builds up, and then yeah, it messes up your life. So I think for me, finding ways to have an outlet for that or to give it its due, that's been the challenge, but not so much feeling it. I feel like that hasn't been so hard.
I see. Part of blast is also getting things started. Is that still a challenge for you, or are you still like a procrastinator, or is that like a lot better nowadays since knowing what it really is?
Yeah, it kind of depends. So I've really had to work on this a lot and do so many like Zen mind tricks to myself to just get myself started on stuff. For work, it's gotten to be pretty easy. I don't have any problems getting stuff started for that, or just stuff that I'm familiar with, very easy to just start up and just start doing it. But for me, it's just like what helps me is I don't focus on getting it done. I just say, okay, what's the first step? Okay, I'm just going to do that and let's just see what happens. I don't care if I finish it or not. Most of the time, though, I'll just end up finishing it.
Right.
But the stuff that I'm not familiar with, or things that involve people, like I gotta call like customer service or some shit, like it's just that I will procrastinate on so much because I'm just like, I gotta call them, I don't know what to ask for, and it's gonna be in German. Like I don't want to deal with all that. So like I procrastinate on that stuff. Doing taxes, things like that, I definitely procrastinate. Stuff that's known, not so much.
How did you end up in Germany, anyways? Like I think the point is,
It's funny, we were talking about alcohol earlier,
yeah,
and and how it can sometimes be a blessing in your life. Well, so okay, so about to give you a consume story here, but I was like blackout drunk one night, just really blackout drunk, and I woke up the next morning super hungover, and I checked my email, and there is a ticket booked to Germany. There's a whole travel itinerary to go to Germany. I thought it was like spam mail at first. I was like, what is this? So I had this book. I couldn't cancel it. And I was just like, okay, I guess I'll go.
Who
I ended up
booked it?
going.
What? Who booked it? How did?
I booked it.
Oh, you
Blackout
booked
drunk.
it. Oh,
Yeah.
you
And I
booked it when
woke
you
up
were
and I had
drunk.
no idea. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay, keep going. I was like,
Somehow spelled my name right and everything. I don't know how I did that. And I went and I had such a great time that I instantly fell in love with being in Europe and everything. And so, yeah, next thing I did was try to find work and find a job over there, and flew over there as soon as I could. Yeah.
oh my God, that's so funny, man. Like
Yeah.
that's almost NF, almost like it was meant to be. Like you got like hammered,
Right.
and then that kind of like directed your destiny, you know. And now
Yeah.
you're there.
Well, I
Uh,
take that in as an NI where it's like, any mistake can lead to something that's not a mistake, right? You'd be
right.
surprised how your worst mistakes end up being not mistakes because of where it took you, right? So anytime I have a major mess up where I'm like, you know what? I could end up in another country. It's fine.
I love how you double observe while you were like blacked out drunk. Like I don't even like that. Like
Yeah,
I
I
bet
know.
like I bet like a lot of like consume last people wouldn't be able to book that plane ticket because like even
Yeah,
when they were
right.
like
Yeah, I
sober,
know.
like
Who knows? I think I just got lucky. Yeah.
yeah. But anyways, I wanted to ask you about NF next since we're on the topic of NF. A lot of ISTPs or INTPs, mostly ISTPs actually, or ESTPs, they don't believe in NF. They think it's like woo-woo nonsense.
Yeah.
But it's totally real. And the ISTPs that do tap into that do reap the benefits of it. Like Conor McGregor is the best example, right? Because he used the
Yeah.
secret to become champ. So
Mhm.
um what is your relationship now with NF? Is it something that you now believe or something that you still kind of like hesitant to accept that it's real, or what's your relationship like with that?
I think the big challenge was classifying what like NF is. In
Right.
some ways, NF is not woo-woo at all. It could just be the way that your tribe or your group gets
Sure.
along and interacts with each other. Like that could be NF, right? Um, so that is definitely something I focus on. When it comes to the more, I guess, woo-woo stuff, I've kind of have to stop seeing it as like an ST thing. Like people with crystals and stuff, yeah, they don't like magically heal you or whatever, but it's more of like it does something to you emotionally that's nice, right? I feel like a lot
Sure.
of NF stuff, it's not supposed to necessarily be ST true, but it does affect you in an NF way that could be positive, right?
Sure. Sure.
And so I think, yeah, a lot of this stuff, okay, yeah, it's not ST true, but it definitely helps and definitely has its benefits. So I think learning to not scoff at it and realize that, hey, a lot of people are into this and it helps them out, and you got to find what's good about it or what it does for you. So yeah, I feel like I have a better relationship with it. Still not an NF guru myself. I'm still lost with even the basic like tribe stuff, the basic NF I'm still struggling with. But yeah, I think my relationships changed, I would say, for the better.
One day when you're a lot older and I see you with like dreadlocks and like freaking,
Never know.
like a tie-dye shirt or something and like some beads, then I know you're like, oh, you made it. You made it, Dave.
I got a couple shirts, man. A couple weird shirts.
Oh, do
That's where I'm
you?
starting.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
starting to. You're
we'll go from there.
trying to evolve like a Pokemon. Just kidding.
Exactly, right.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's on its way. Plus, I'm in a city that's just very NF, and so
oh,
so it has
okay.
influence. Yeah, so
Gotcha.
on
Which
its
city
way.
is it?
Berlin.
Berlin's very NF.
Yeah, Berlin is like where, so like Germany is the most like probably SITE place ever.
Right.
But all the crazy people, which are like all the FINE people, go to Berlin, and it's just the most DI chaotic place in Germany. And Germany's
Yeah.
not really a chaotic place. So it's like Germany's demon functions in one city, basically.
Which is
So
the
like
capital
it's
city.
is it what?
Yeah, Berlin's the capital, right?
It
So
is a capital. Yeah,
yeah.
capital and the biggest city. Yeah. It's one of those places where I really like it because I don't like to dress up or dress nice. I just like to wear comfortable stuff.
Yeah.
In Berlin, it's looked down on to dress nice here. Actually,
Really?
people, the shittier you can look, the cooler you are. So if you got
Really?
like holes in your shirt, you got like a piss stain on your pants, you're like Berlin chic. You know what I mean? So
That's
it's
so
like
weird.
It's a
That's
whole
so
thing.
weird. So it's like quirky in a way. It's very quirky.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
place where it's very easy just to be yourself because everyone else is. You see all kinds of weird people here. Yeah.
Yeah. I've only been there for like one night, so I didn't get a chance to explore. So
Ah, okay. I
um
think you are coming close by at some point. Yeah, if you ever make a trip over the border, I mean, feel free.
yeah,
Come hang
maybe.
out.
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see if that
It's
happens.
got other stuff too. It's a very, I don't know what you're into, but it's also a very historical city. Probably the most historical city in Germany. So much stuff to go to and see. And, they have
Okay.
the wall here and the city was divided and all
Oh,
that
the
stuff.
Berlin Wall and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Holocaust Memorial, yeah, all kinds of stuff. Spy Museum, just super cool.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Um, I want to ask you next about the NF blast itself.
Okay.
This is not for you now, this is for the tribe, right? Like you kind of like motivating the tribe, like typical NF blast is like motivation,
Mhm.
but it doesn't have to be motivation. It could just be kind of like what Gary Vee is doing, where he's trying to pump up your identity so that
Yeah.
you can pursue your dreams and passions. And then part of NF blast is also finding meaning and purpose through teaching other people. So
Mhm.
along those lines, do you find that you've done any of that at all? And do you find that when you do teach people something, there is like a sense of purpose and meaning to your life kind of added, like you're like, oh, I'm doing something good for humanity almost, even if it's a small scale.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, I find that, I mean, I don't have anything super structured, but I do find that I'm giving a lot of people like enough sort of related advice, which I really like doing, but also don't feel qualified. But when it's like helpful, yeah, that feels great. Yeah, I feel like you're doing something good, and I think like even if you're not doing enough stuff, when you are blasting, generally those functions are at play, right? Like if I could be talking about ST stuff, but the focus is going to be on like, will you like this or do you value this? And what is like the core concept that I can deliver and not a bunch of details and all that stuff. So technically whenever I'm blasting, it's NF blasting, even though it's not NF
Right.
material so much. And
Right.
I blast for a job. So I guess I'm blasting there quite a
Oh,
bit.
really? What are you doing?
So I teach software engineers how to develop for the APIs for our software platform.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Let's talk about your social type. So you are a number 4, based on your,
Most likely. Yeah.
yeah, most likely a number 4. Dave said 2 or 4, right? That's kind of like where they landed,
Dave
like
said
2
2
or
or
4.
4. Yeah.
So, and then you land on a 4 personally, because that made the most sense for you.
Yeah.
Because they also told me I was 2 or 4 also.
Okay.
I think they were leaning towards 4, but I personally think I'm a 2. But anyways,
Okay.
but so what kind of made you land towards 4 personally?
Yeah. Well, for me, like I feel like so my job for one, not responsible. It might just be me being an IP, but like I want one thing and I just want to do that thing, and I can do that thing literally every day. I don't need to owe either at all. Like just give me the one thing, and I would rather drill down into that. As far as like if you ask my friends group, like how responsible is Dave? Did he just take up tasks and stuff? And they're like, no, they would never say that I do that. I feel like I've always wanted to just really dive deep into one thing and just stick with it, and I get like a sense of comfort from that. So I feel like I'm a 4 over a 2 just because of how much I relate to the 3.
Right.
I
That
would
makes
say.
sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And what about the save your friends thing? That's kind of like a given, right? Like you love people, you're super friendly and stuff. And
Yeah, I think yeah, I feel like all of my like IP bullshit, it's the goal of it was always just to make friends though. Like it was never to be number 1 or to whatever. It was like, if I can be super significant, then I'll have friends, which is the ultimate goal. I don't know if that's how it works with social types, if that's like the main thing you're going after, maybe not. But for me, it always felt like that was the thing. And it just feels like I guess I'm in a bit of a conundrum now because like I've been saying yes to a lot of stuff, and like I'm just in a really good place at the moment. So I'm like saying out and about more often. So now I feel like I have a lot of social stuff going on and it's just too much. But I also can't say no. And I don't want to lose any of my connections, even though I can't keep up with any of.
yeah,
So I guess maybe that's the 4 conundrum that you get in. But I'm
that's true.
definitely
That makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
So now knowing that you don't have to do the TI to get the FE, you could just go straight to FE.
Go straight FE. Yeah.
How does that make you feel? Like you don't even have to do the TI anymore to get people to love and care about you. You could just get people to love and care about you just for being you.
Yeah, yeah, man, it's a weight off your shoulders, because I think if you try to do it the TI way, it's just never really that effective, and you just get weird sort of interactions and reactions from other people and stuff, and you just feel like you really are fitting a square peg in like a round hole. And so, yeah, it just makes you way more decidery in social situations, because you're like thinking too much. You're like, okay, what can I say? What should I
Yeah,
say here? How can I tell them how smart I am? Or all
yeah,
this stupid shit. You know what I mean? But when you're in your emotions, you're in your feelings, and you're paying attention to the people, it's quite easy to like to do the social and the group thing.
yeah,
And it's just nice, especially compared to childhood, how awkward that was. That now it's like, oh, I think people like me now. Like that's so nice. It didn't used to
yeah.
be that way.
And just being you, you don't even have to freaking TI anymore. So
Not have to do any of that. Yeah, thank God. And you just get, I mean, I think as you get older, you just get tired of your first function. You get tired of TIing, and you just feel like it's just like it's not interesting anymore. You do it too much,
maybe
you
you
know?
because you're a four, but like maybe the
Yeah,
ones
maybe.
that the threes are like this Dave guy saying blasphemy, like
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Yeah, I wonder what their experience would be like. Yeah.
yeah. Um, okay, so what's your relationship like with your TI now that now that you can just skip it and get the love? The TI is still important to you because you still care about building stuff, but not to the sense of like getting love anymore. It's just for the maybe you still like to work on stuff,
Yeah, yeah. It's I guess mostly involved with just keeping my life in order, because there is like the constant feeling of you still feel like you need to build yourself up, and not for like a significance thing anymore, but more for like, so you're not regressing. Yeah, like for me, I'll just feel like I'm dying if I'm not like, even just like, not even much. I have like no expectations on myself, just one step at a time every day. So like the TI is more about like constructing my life in a way where I'm taking care of my physical health, my mental health. I'm working on some kind of passion or skill that I enjoy doing, and setting up stuff for work to make things easier. So it's just a lot of sleep, I would guess, is kind of what it's being used for these days. Yeah.
Oh, I
Not a
see.
significance thing. Yeah.
Not for, and mostly for the NT sleep part, just to plan for your future and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeping things going, keeping the ship running, keeping myself happy. Yeah.
What about let's talk about your demons now for social type. So demon responsibility, can you share a little bit about like
Yeah.
it's not missing, but it's not also
It feels like it's missing, man. It feels like it's down there. It's just,
okay.
man, it's just because I think responsibilities, you like juggling a lot of stuff, right? Did I get that right? You're kind of going from one thing to one thing. You're not super involved with just one thing. Is that how it's
There's a lot of
characterized?
parts to it. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, the definition for number two, I'm not like a big fan of it because I think every social type is seeking something. Number four is the easiest, seeking friendship and connection, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then number three is again easy, seeking
Mhm.
specialization. It doesn't get more simple than that. And then
Yeah.
number ones, it's kind of also straightforward. They're seeking um achievement, status,
Mhm.
competition, that kind of deal. So number two, seeking responsibility, that doesn't click well to me. I think what number two is seeking is independence. Like
Oh, okay.
the reason why they're doing all the stuff they're doing is for the sake of independence.
Mhm.
Like why are they attracted to business? Well, they're attracted to business because they're their own boss and they are the captain of their own ship and they can have
Mhm.
independence if they're more than willing to manage all the different departments and than being managed themselves
Mhm.
because that's freedom, that's independence, right?
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes
Also,
sense.
if you work for a company, if you are in a management position, then yeah, you still have someone to answer to, but the fact that you're managing different departments, it almost feels like you have a say on the trajectory of where the organization is going. So you have
Yeah.
the freedom to choose the trajectory based on
Mhm.
how you move the pieces together, essentially.
Right. Yeah. If you're
So
calling the shots, then you don't get pinned down. So there's like the independence that comes from that, I guess. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think that's where the two is really at. It's like I think I like the word independence more,
Okay.
instead of responsibility. The responsibility is the bridge to get the independence. Like you need to be
Mhm.
responsible for, like, I mean, because like if you look at independence, there's many coins to independence, right? Like for example, when you're old and you are not on a wheelchair, it's like you can still run, jump, do all this physical stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's independence, right? So how did you get that independence? Well, by being responsible and exercising, eating healthy, and all that stuff. So, so you also get independence from that end. So that's why
Yeah.
you can say twos are really responsible. It's because their obsession with independence.
Mhm.
They need to be responsible to get independence. So
Right.
it's the necessary ingredients. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just like for number threes, you need to focus to specialize. So that's like the necessary ingredients is focus, right?
Mhm.
But you don't say, oh, the focus type, but no, it's not. It's like the specialization, right?
Mhm.
So that's kind of how I see it, personally.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. For me, it's just like being responsible for stuff, to me tends to be really draining and just gives me a lot of anxiety. And, having multiple things being responsible for it, it feels like the context switch from one thing to another takes so much energy. Like for example, it's so much easier for me to really go hard on one thing than to bounce around with like 5 easy sort of light things. It's so much easier for me to just stick because like it just my brain just doesn't want to go off to something else. I also have ADHD, so maybe it's something to do with that. I know that's definitely a common symptom there. But yeah, so for me, it's having my hands kind of everywhere, and I feel a lot of pressure and anxiety just knowing that like I'm at the top of the thing here, and the responsibility is on me for this to get done, and I have to hope and rely on other people for that, and that's not easy. Not a fan of that.
I'm just laughing because everyone I'm interviewing lately has ADHD.
Well, I'm actually diagnosed. I think everyone says that now, but
No,
I'm
no,
actually
no. Everyone I've interviewed lately has been diagnosed.
really. Oh God,
Yeah,
that's not
including
fair.
myself. I got diagnosed this year also.
Oh
So
really?
yeah,
Maybe we all have it, man. Like the internet.
everyone has ADHD.
Yeah.
Which one do you have? Because there's three kinds, right? So
It's the inattentive type.
inattentive. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. I'm the mix. I have both hyper
Okay.
inattentive, which makes sense. Play blast, consume sleep, right?
Yeah.
Play blast is hyperactive, consume sleep is
Switch
inattentive.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Makes
um,
sense.
yeah. It's kind of crazy. I was just talking to Nathan actually before this interview. We're on Facebook. He's
You
telling
were
me.
gonna what? Sorry.
I was talking to Nathan about the ADHD pills. We were talking about
Oh.
it like before this interview, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of funny because he's a pharmacist, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
He'd be the one to. It'd be a good one to ask.
yeah,
Ti-Se Nate, right?
yeah. The one you guys have a podcast together, so
Okay. My Nate. Okay. I was
you're
making
you're
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're Nathan, yeah. So, anyways, so okay, that's kind of interesting. Kind of lost my tangent here a little bit, but let's talk about the last part of your social type, which is demon flex. That's like that should be the bottom one here. So
Yeah.
let's start with what makes you think that flex is the one that's missing the most?
Um. Yeah. I know that's hard to see as an IP because there is a part of you that there is a flex there, even if you're demon flex, I think.
Yeah,
But you won't really catch me doing it that much. It just doesn't present itself in reality, even if inward I'm feeling like I would like to or whatever. It just feels gross. I don't know. I don't like doing it. I feel like when I was a kid, I would flex all the time. Like that was what I did. But you learn that it pushes people away. You don't get, I guess, good results from that. It does nothing. It feels like I'm sure it does something because it's a whole social type. But for me, it didn't. And so it just feels wrong. And I hate when it comes out. I'm like, I just flex. I'm like, ugh, gross. Like, why
like
am I flexing?
you cringe at yourself or something.
If I do I what?
You cringe at yourself when it comes.
Yeah, I do. Cringe hard. I'll think about the next day. It's like, man, I just told them how good I am at this thing. Like, no, bad.
That's funny. And
Yeah.
then what they said about fours is ones and fours are mortal enemies and also best friends. Can you share a little bit about that relationship with ones, essentially? Like, both like really admiring them, but at the same time also, a lot some of their character traits also can be triggering for four.
Yeah.
What's your experience been like with that?
It depends. So like I don't know if I know any one IPs really, so I don't know if I have personal experience there, but I know some one EJs, and actually that seems fine. It almost you feel like you're kind of rooting them on to flex because I feel like they need to kind of like put themselves out there more and to be a little more DI, and I think the flex like helps that. So that doesn't bother me, but I was talking about this with Felix earlier too. I don't know if you know Felix ISTP, but there's like a thing where if somebody flexes, but you don't really have a lot of respect for them, you don't feel like they have anything to flex about. It's just, man, that somehow that's anger inducing. I don't know. It's like, dude, you don't deserve to flex, man. Get
Yes,
something in reality, then you can
dude, I
flex.
totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
100%. Totally get where you're coming
Yeah.
from. I also get annoyed by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's some people that can flex and you love it. Like, look at Conor McGregor. I mean, okay, now he's not in the best state, but back in the day when he was flexing all the time, it was fun. He backed it up. Totally fine with him flexing. It's when you're not that you're flexing. It's like you're delusional. Yeah.
When he lost his NF, that's when he lost all that stuff. Because
He lost something, man. I don't know what. I feel so bad for it because I really like Conor McGregor, but now he's just like, it's man, it like hurts to watch him now. Where I feel actually really sad when I like see him all hyped up on coke and just he can't even string like a sentence together and stuff. Like, man, what happened to you, man? This sucks.
well, because before when he was climbing up towards the double champ, he was using NF, right? Like he said, he used a secret. He visualized having the two belts.
He would NF his opponents too with the best shit talking.
Yeah,
You could do.
exactly.
Yeah, he would totally mess up their emotions, right?
Right. And then now he's just going for like ST and like more money and all that stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
you have enough, dude. You have enough already. You're made, going for the
Yeah,
ST.
he lost his way. He doesn't have that in him anymore. Now it's just he still has the confidence somehow, but he doesn't have a journey or a mission anymore. It feels like an NF mission sort of
He
thing.
feels desperate because he moved up to welterweight,
Yeah.
right? He's starting to be a champion for three weight class.
Mhm.
But I don't think he can win in welterweight because I think they're just too big.
Yeah.
Because he's not naturally a welterweight. You know what I mean? So
He's not, and now he's all roided up, and he already has conditioning issues. So now he's going in with all this extra muscle. He's just gonna tire out so hard, and to cut all that muscle out, it's gonna completely exhaust him. So he's completely he completely fucked himself at this point with that move.
he would have to get really lucky, which is possible because the
Yeah.
UFC obviously wants him
He
to.
comes out strong. He comes out fast. If you're not ready for it, he still has the same power. So he can still not get. But yeah, he's got to get lucky.
No, what I mean by that is like the champion that he fights must be a striker because the moment they're a wrestler, he's done, right? So
Yeah.
they have to be a striker because that's where he's good at, and he has to knock them out in the first round, like he used to back in the days, which he does. He has the punching power, right? So
And he's a striker with like a suspect chin, and then he's got a shot. Yeah.
exactly, yeah, and Dana White loves him. Obviously, he makes them a lot of money. So obviously, they'll probably rig it.
He's in Dana's FI. No,
What's that?
he's in Dana's FI, I think.
Yeah, he's inside Dana's.
He fucks up so much, and Dana's still cool. And Dana easily burns his fighters, but he doesn't burn Conor, even though Conor probably needs to be burned for some stuff.
Well, when you're making the company so much money, why would you, right? So like, it's just business.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's a BS thing about the FI. It's like who you like is who you like, right? It gets really irrational because I've seen Dana White kick out fighters that did less than what Conor McGregor has done, and he's still gotten away with a lot of stuff, right? So
yeah. There's even fighters that have made him a lot of money, and he's still like, man, this guy, John Jones was never my friend, sort of.
Oh yeah, he's John Jones.
Yeah. It's
I wonder if it's the masculine TI that triggers him because Conor McGregor has feminine TI, right? So he's kind of easy to work with, because it's feminine. The T is feminine, so he's easy to work with because Dana White said that if he asked Conor for a fight, Conor's like, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's always a yes. He's like, don't even tell me who it is. I don't care.
Yeah, well, like John Jones is like, is this gonna build up my legacy? Because if it doesn't, I don't want this fight, right?
Yeah, John Jones canceled on Chael Sonnen, who was a middleweight at the time, when one of his opponents fell out, and he's like, no, I'm not taking the fight on short notice.
Yeah, especially not Chael Sonnen because he already beat him before, right? So like he.
Well, no, the Chael Sonnen before he fought him, the first time, or he only fought him once.
Because they didn't.
Yeah, he like
they fought eventually, right? Remember? So.
Yeah. So before John Jones had someone drop out, and they're like, your replacement's Chael Sonnen, and he's like, no, I won't fight someone on short. Yeah, that's coming in short notice.
Right.
So Dana was not a fan of that, obviously.
No, of course not. No. Yeah. But yeah, he's definitely the GOAT though, because even Dana White says he's the GOAT. You can't argue with John Jones being the GOAT.
I don't think he's the GOAT, but he's pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because he does the sports performance enhancing stuff.
I think, it puts a big question mark. I think if he didn't have that, I would say yes. I think St. Pierre, in my opinion, is the best, but but yeah. I mean, would he have beaten Cormier with the stuff? If he didn't beat Cormier, then he's probably not going to be considered. I don't know if he goes and beats Stipe and Ngannou, then okay,
But he beat
fine.
Cormier and Coke. That's like a sports unenhancing, you know? Like,
Well, he wasn't on coke during it, but yeah.
yeah, he's like, that's what he was saying, right? I beat you when I was hot. I was, on something that makes his performance even worse, right?
Well, so that's apparently John Jones' NF is every week before he goes and parties and gets completely messed up. So he has an excuse. If he loses, he can save his own mentality that way.
Right.
So he does that before every fight. He just gets completely fucked up.
Yeah. That's interesting. I can see that working, like
Yeah.
your GSP used to say like he used to hook up with girls before he goes in a fight, right? Like he's not,
Oh, really? Oh, I hadn't heard that
it's like
actually.
they were interviewing
Nice
him.
guy,
They're like,
GSP.
yeah, because they're telling him, they're like, they said that you're not supposed to, like have sex before fight because
Yeah,
like
it's an old boxer myth. Yeah, it's
yeah, and he's like, I
yeah.
never listened to it. He said I did it all the time. That's what he said, and
No.
in a way, maybe it works because he's just more relaxed, right? You're not like
Yeah,
tense
I
before the
mean,
fight.
if it makes you happy, that's what you need to be going into the fight.
Yeah, he's
So
going to the fight all loose and relaxed, So I mean, like because
yeah,
like that obviously helps you, right?
yeah,
You can think more
totally.
clearly.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, as long as you have a good mindset. Yeah, the
Yeah,
physical stuff doesn't matter near as much.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I don't think GSP is number one for my opinion. He's definitely in the Mount Rushmore, but he's not
for
number
sure.
one. That's not just my opinion. I think John Jones is number one. I don't like John Jones, but I think he's number one.
Fair
Like
enough. Yeah, I think a lot of people put him at number one. Yeah,
yeah, because like he's just so good. He's just so good. Like he just
yeah.
um yeah. But anyways, so what other stuff about personality that you want to discuss for the remainder of this time that we haven't touched on yet? So we talked about your type already, so kind of got that out of the way.
Yeah. What has it been like with you and your journey of your social type? Do you feel like it in well, or maybe another question would be like, do you feel like it's useful? I don't know what to do with the social type. I don't know if like like it's supposed to help me in some way. Does it just kind of make things a bit more understandable, or like what are we supposed to do with this, do you think?
I think anything with OPS, it's the good thing about OPS, it's roadmap. I think that's the best way for me to describe it. So I think the social type gives you a roadmap also. Um, like for example, I'm a two. If you look at my life pile, it's true I've been working in fitness industry for 10 years, so that you could argue that's specialization, right? I do have
Yeah, 10
savior.
years. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have blast as a savior. So that's where the cognitive dissonance is happening, where I'm blasting on the same topic, and it comes across as specialization. But if you dig deep into what I'm doing during the fitness stuff, I was doing personal training, but I was also doing I was teaching circuit training, spin, seniors class, people with osteoporosis. Recently, I got my yoga certification, and then I'm also I got this certification where I can mark people's exam who wants to be a personal trainer, and I also got this certification now where I can teach the module where if you want to be a personal trainer, I can teach
Wow, so feel like you're doing everything in that. Yeah, it's like for me, the converse of that, I would just do the yoga class or something. I would never want to do
exactly.
the other things. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Or if you're just doing personal training or you're just doing group fitness, that's it, right?
Yeah.
But then on top of that, while I'm doing all that shit, I was also working as a paid travel blogger. I have my own travel blog where I was running my own, gimmick or scam, you could say, like the way that David Chan always describes. I have like the sales funnel and an online course I'm selling,
Yeah.
and then I have my travel YouTube channel, and then I have personality trainer, right? And I work as a supervisor for the Canadian federal election.
You're busy, man. Wow.
Multiple different roles there too. We have multiple different roles there too, like supervisor
Yeah.
and voting officer. So I have multiple roles when I work for the election. And then on top of that, I work as a recruiter for a security company and a recruiter for a travel nurse company. So if you look at my freaking
How do you
life,
have time for all this, man? God.
I'm sleepless, but like after work, I'm still working. It's like the description of number two. Work
Are
for
you happy doing that, or is it is that stressful or?
It's stressful, but I feel meaning when I do it.
Okay.
It's complicated, dude.
You
It's
get
like
something out of it's like a love-hate relationship, probably, right? Something like that.
yeah, it's love hate for sure. 100% love
Yeah.
hate. Well, because I have a goal in the future. So, because like the reason why I'm doing all this, because like I felt like I wasted my 20s. So I'm in my 30s. I feel like I have to catch up. That's
Okay.
that's what I'm feeling. So, the fitness and all that, the fitness is my day job that pays the bills.
Okay.
While,
Like
while
you
the-
didn't build anything in your 20s, you mean? And so now you're having to make up for it? Or how do you mean what you missed out on in your 20s?
my 20s was spent finding myself. Because
Okay.
yeah, because I didn't know which direction to go in life. So
Yeah.
20s was
Sure.
spent to find trajectory and
Mhm.
identity. I found my identity like kind of like by my early 20s, but then trajectory I didn't find until I was in my late 20s, right? So by the time I found the trajectory, I was comparing myself to other people who have already gotten
Yeah.
far in life, and I'm like, I am behind. But at least I know my trajectory now.
Yeah,
Um,
well, you'll get your revenge. They'll have their midlife crisis later on when they jumped into something that they didn't really have time to figure out
well,
that
I'm
was
seeing
really
that
better.
now because people put their ladder in the wrong building, right? So
Yeah.
so I'm seeing that now, but
Mhm.
I didn't appreciate back then that like all the
Right.
work you
I
put in.
mean, what you did in your 20s, you had to do it at some point. And it's good a thing it was then and not in your 40s when you're like,
Right. No,
I've been
dude,
in this job I don't like
100%.
for how long? God, you know.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I don't want midlife crisis, man. But that's one of the reasons
Yeah.
why I did that because I was like, everyone's gonna get midlife crisis. Might as well do it now, just get it over with
Yeah.
now.
Get your early life crisis. That's much better.
Yeah, I mean, like even in my early 30s, I traveled the world for 1 year, right? Like solo
Mhm.
backpacking. So
It's good. Yeah.
yeah, so I've done a lot of work in that area. So, but like now I feel like I'm catching up because like I feel like I'm behind, right? Like I'm like, oh, I don't like a lot of my friends and family. They have their own home already. They have a mortgage and all that stuff, and I'm like, I don't have that. And at first I was anti that because I was like, I'm anti societal norms. Like I'm
Mhm.
against anything that's like, you know, go to school, get a 9 to 5 job, get married, buy a house, have kids. Like at first I was
Yeah.
against all that like linear pathway. I'm not against it anymore, but like before I was. That's why I was like, I'm not gonna get a freaking mortgage because that's stupid. But now obviously
Yeah.
I'm older. I'm like, I think mortgage is good, especially for me. I have SI in the bottom. That's my
Mhm.
box, man. It's a physical
Yeah.
box, right? So um, so me and my
But
girlfriend.
it's good that you arrived to that conclusion from your own volition and you figured out, oh, actually, I would like to do this rather than just doing it because you thought you had to and then realizing later, like, oh, what have I done? You know what I
Right,
mean? It sounds
right.
like a good thing. Well,
Yeah, now I'm finding the SI is the minimum requirement for freedom for
mhm.
ENFPs and ENTPs.
That
Uh,
makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, so you need to have a physical box that belongs to you.
Yeah. Or that physical, do you feel like it manifests in like a physical routine as well? Like there's like a little system you have to follow or something like that.
I mean, I have Savior Blast, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Like
Mhm.
I'm the only weird ENFP in the group that has Savior Blast, right? Um, so like I am
Oh
doing.
yeah, they don't usually have that, right? Yeah, that is rare.
There's
I
no one in
never
the
had
group
that.
that has Savior Blast ENFP. I'm the only
There's
one.
no one. Oh, well, okay, it's that
No,
rare.
they
Wow.
did type someone a long time ago, but he
Mhm.
disappeared. He didn't like his type or something. He was a double
Ah,
masculine
too
ENFP.
bad. Yeah.
But like so right now I'm the only guy in the whole group. So like when I talk to other ENFPs, they're like no one has ST as a savior. So it's kind of weird. So I don't have the same problems those guys, the other ENFPs. But
Mhm.
anyway, so the point I'm trying to make is like um for me personally, I'm learning the value of specialization because I'm looking at all this shit I'm doing. And
Mhm.
the reason why I was doing all this shit was to really boost up. So I don't have flex missing. So I was boosting up my resume, which is my flex. So I can show
Mhm.
my resume and get a job at any time I want because I have so many experience, which is true. I've never had trouble getting a job. But then when I
Mhm.
really look at the core of it, I'm like, why do I want a job? I don't want a job. I don't want to specialize. I want to run my own business. I'm the boss and I'm running the organization and we have a goal and I'm the one that's the captain of
Yeah.
the ship moving us towards a trajectory essentially. So
Well, it sounds like you're building up to it. Like you've taken on a lot of responsibility. You have a lot of different hats, and you've gotten in a lot of different areas, and it feels like you're kind of building up to where it would be easy to find your space, and once the opportunity presents itself.
yes. And also the thing that I appreciate the most about fours and threes since talking to you guys
Mhm.
um, is really the time and effort you put in at honing your craft, hence why you're called the craftsman, right? Or something like that, or the artisan. Um, there's a video that Dave released recently about how fours and threes are doing it right, where you don't have a gimmick or a scam to sell something.
Mhm.
It's like your work speaks for itself. You don't have to do as much
Yeah.
marketing or sales when your work is top notch and
Right.
it sells itself essentially, right?
Mhm.
So that's kind of like the camp where I'm going to right now, because I remember a long time ago when I was running my travel blog and my travel YouTube channel and I was selling my membership website and all that shit. I had to go through all the gimmick, and it's not like my service was bad or anything, but I felt like I don't have to do all that marketing that I did, because I had to do a lot of marketing to make sales, right? I didn't have to
Mhm.
do all that marketing had I just really, really emphasize on the craft itself, because I didn't
Yeah.
emphasize on the craft, right? I emphasize on the sales and marketing. So now,
Okay.
I
Yeah, there
kind
has to
of,
be balance, I guess, right? Yeah.
yeah. Now,
Because I mean, there's a lot of crap out there that just gets marketed really well, and then people get it. Like Bud Light. Man, who the hell likes Bud Light? People are buying it. That's or the music, like Despacito, worst song ever. But hey, people listen to it.
really, I
It's
like
good.
that song. I like
Damn, as
that.
soon as I started saying that, I was like, oh, he might like that song. And then
I
I
mean, I'm
realized,
not in love with it. I thought it was good though.
yeah, well, actually, it's not a good. I mean, Despacito is not I wouldn't say a marketing thing, actually.
You know
But
what
like, there's a
songs?
lot of stuff that gets marketed that's just crap. But it looks so shiny that you can't help but go after it.
Yeah, what's that song? Gangnam Style, a long time ago. That song shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
And even
the dance was
made
good. The
like
dance was
Korean,
good.
I think, right? Yeah.
What's that?
It even made its way over here from Korea. So it marketed itself so well that it got over to the US even, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
It's Korean,
crazy.
right? I think it's Korean.
He's Korean. Yeah, he did like a live show in France or something in front of a live crowd, and everyone's going crazy and stuff. Um, I no,
Yeah.
I think the dance is good. I like the dance, but I think the song itself, I'm like, that's it's only catchy because it became catchy because like everyone
Yeah.
made it catchy. But hey, who do I know? I'm SF last, right? So what do I know?
Yeah. I mean, it's a balance, right? If you can market something so extremely well, then you don't need much content. I mean, what's that INTJ guy that's just like, I feel like he's just full of shit. I hope this isn't a guy that you like, by the
Dan
way.
Lok,
What's
Dan Lok.
No, they talk shit about him all the time in the videos on the
Who?
website. Ty Lopez, that guy.
Oh, Ty Lopez.
I feel like the guy's so full of shit, man. Like you're just
Yeah, he
no,
is. He's full of shit
but he's killing it. He's absolutely killing it.
because he's explaining things with so much confidence that you really believe what he's saying is right.
This guy has a Bugatti. He must know what he's talking about. It was like he got his Bugatti by people just like that. They're just like, wow, he must know what he's talking about. You get enough of those people, you even buy that car, right?
Well, he knows how to sell, so
He does the no. So like that's what I said, the balance. So like you'd have if your marketing is excellent, your product doesn't have to be that great.
maybe Ty Lopez should be selling videos on how to sell because that's what he's good at. Because the other stuff
Yeah.
he's selling
How
is
to
not.
bullshit 101 from
Yeah, because yeah, how to, but it's good. He does know how to do it, so I think that's
yeah.
actually his
There's
product.
a skill in that sense. Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
dude, I'll tell you one thing that's heavily marketed that really worked and it's absolute garbage, hot garbage. Have you seen that movie Oppenheimer? That movie
I haven't seen it though. Is it
is
not good?
the worst piece of trash movie I've ever seen.
No,
It
really?
is
But it's
hot
Christopher
trash.
Nolan. It has to be
It
good,
is
right?
so bad. Like me and my friends went to the movie theater and watch it, and after we all left, we're like, "This movie was the biggest
Oh, and you
waste of time."
all of you hated it. What did you not like about it? What was the worst thing?
I don't want to spoil it to you. You didn't watch it, right? So
Oh, okay. Well, can you give me like abstract stuff where it doesn't say the ending or whatever? Can you be like, well, the characters were shit, or the plot didn't make sense, or
yeah, I mean, I could argue that the pacing was all over the place. It's like the
pacing not good?
teleporting
Okay.
future present, teleporting back and forth.
That is Christopher Nolan. That's at his that's
Yeah.
a lot of his movies are like that,
So,
right?
yeah,
Yeah,
you don't know
that's
what's
what I'm
going
saying.
on because of back and forth thing. I mean, eventually you
Mhm.
catch on, but like it's kind of annoying when it happens. And
Yeah.
the antagonist was forced. It doesn't feel like it was like a natural antagonist. It felt like forced by the
Mhm.
movie, like because they need
Okay.
someone to be an antagonist, so they put this person there. But it
Yeah.
didn't feel like it was actual antagonist.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then yeah, I don't want to spoil anything if because you're gonna watch it, but
I probably
basically,
will.
you know what Oppenheimer is about, right? It's about the nuclear bomb.
Oh wait, yeah. Can you even spoil it? Because it's like it's a thing that actually happened, right? Is there? I mean, spoiler alert. There's a bomb dropped on Japan a couple of times, and
No, bro. So you're watching Oppenheimer because it's about the atomic bomb, right? In Hiroshima, right?
I'm
So,
watching it because it's Christopher Nolan, actually. But
sure,
yeah,
okay. So
yeah,
okay, because you're a decider, so it's about the person. But anyways, like,
yeah. He
but
makes
the,
good movies.
but the point is like that's kind of like the climax, right? It's like they drop it at Hiroshima, right? I'm just gonna say one thing. They didn't even show the climax. Okay.
It's just like, okay, well, that would be annoying. But like,
Yeah, because you build up to it and then wah, nothing. It's like
so the movie's just what, just based on the moral question of should we do this sort of thing, and
the movie
awful.
builds up to nothing. That's what I'm trying to say. It
Mhm.
builds up to nothing. You build up, and then nothing. And then
Dang.
you're like, what the fuck? You know, like
So you're more in the Barbie camp then. Did you see
Barbie was
Barbie?
a lot better. Yeah.
I heard it was actually good. Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like about the Barbie was the punchline, but otherwise it was a good movie.
Okay.
Because like in the end it had a punchline and it was, like the punchline was like you're enough, right? Or something like that,
What was the punchline?
like Ken is enough. He's enough, right?
Oh, I don't know. I know nothing about that movie other than there's like Barbie and
Oh,
stuff.
you didn't watch it?
No, I haven't seen it. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, so I mean, I didn't like the punchline because I think it was whoever made this movie is a decider. That's what I'm trying to say. Like it's not,
Okay. It's not
yeah,
interesting.
that's because the punchline should be a double deciding thing. But
Yeah.
the punchline was a single decider answer. So that's not the correct punchline.
Mm. Well,
It's
I
not
think also being any, you probably don't like absolutes so much either, right? There should be some kind of gray area. It shouldn't be just be like, this is
no,
blah,
no,
blah,
no.
blah.
I like absolute, but the
Yeah.
absolute should be a double deciding punchline, not the punchline. Now I'm not gonna ruin the story for you, but like
Okay.
I'm just saying the punchline was a decider punchline, which is imbalance.
Mhm.
Imbalance. It's an imbalanced punchline. It should be a balanced punchline, which is a double decider punchline.
You could even say the punchline was dumb and wrong if it's not a
Yes, it's dumb and wrong. That's 100%. It was dumb and wrong. But they're making a second Barbie, so maybe they'll have a better punchline.
Oh, okay. There's a sequel. Okay.
It did so well. They have to. They have to. It makes
I hate when they do that when they have to, and it's like this show ended. Like imagine an Oppenheimer sequel. What would be the
Oh
sequel?
God, no. God, no. Hell no.
Don't force a sequel. You're gonna ruin the original by this.
But the original was already ruined, so I guess you can't really go any worse, because it was so bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but Barbie, I think you could make a sequel for it. I could see
There's an
more
opening for it.
potential for character development for both Barbie and Ken. So I can see, and it has also the potential where the sequel could be better than the first,
Okay.
So
Okay, then maybe they should. Yeah, there's an opening for it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, because there's movies, where the second one was better than the first, right? Like Terminator 2, for example, right? So
That's a good point. Yeah, Terminator 2 was better than even though Terminator 1 is criminally
it was really
underrated.
good already. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got ruined after that. They kept going.
Oh yeah, I think I watched some of the third one. I didn't watch anymore.
Yeah.
For that, I don't know. Was there one where it was like instead of a man Terminator, it's a woman Terminator now or something?
That's the third one, yeah.
It was that. Oh, was that the third one? Maybe I didn't see. I saw the one with Christian Bale, whatever that one that was.
Is that the fourth one? That's the fourth one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they made I think one of the worst one was when they remade Terminator, with like John Connor became like bad or something. It's like
it's like an alternate timeline or something, or what was it?
Something like that. Like the first 20 minutes was cool because they brought back the original Terminator and then the liquid Terminator, which was cool. But then afterwards kind of went downhill. But like I didn't like it because they spoil the story in the commercial. It's like, oh, and John Connor's the bad guy. I'm like, isn't that supposed to be a punchline? That's like,
oh, that would be better. Yeah,
isn't that like a big reveal that John Connor was the bad all along?
True. Like, yeah, that
like,
would be better. Yeah.
What the hell is this? That's like just bad.
Totally.
Just bad.
Like trailers, yeah, trailers spoil a lot these days, especially the Netflix one. Just have to avoid them.
All right, Dave. We're gonna wrap up the interview here.
Yep.
So, thanks for coming out and sharing more about your story working on your NF Blast Last. I've always found you interesting in a sense that you're like probably the most friendliest ISTP in the community. Like you're hands down like the friendliest. I put you as number one friendliest. Okay. So sorry to the other ISTPs, but Dave has the crown here. And he's not even a number one.
I gotta be good at something. Yeah.
He's not even number one, but you're definitely the friendliest. Like I don't know anyone has anything bad to say about you. You're like, like everyone just thinks you're like the friendliest guy in the world. So
that's so nice, Kendrick. Thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure, dude. It's true. It's true. So
all right, I'll take your word for it.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, you too, man. Thanks a bunch.
See you.
See you.